Okay, welcome to Bio 3. This is the last lecture about ecology. So we'll talk about human population growth and human impact. Remember at the end of last lecture we talked about the three effects of human impact. Do you still remember which are the three results we talked about at the end of last lecture? I'll give you 5 seconds to think about this. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, time's up. So at the end of the last lecture, we talked about global warming and bioaccumulation. Bioaccumulation means the pollution accumulate to the animal on top of the food chain. And then the last one is population growth. And I also said that population growth has a positive feedback to the global warming and bioaccumulation, which means that population growth will increase the global warming and bioaccumulation. So we will continue with more results of the human impact. Okay, human population growth. So approximately 225,000 people added to the world population every day. You don't need to memorize the number, okay? I don't like to test people with numbers. No need to memorize the number. Approximately 84 million people added to the world population every year. So one is every day, one is every year. Again, you don't need to memorize this number. I don't test people with this number. So the doubling time meaning that the length of time it takes for the population size to double. This is the doubling time. It's approximately 56 years. If you are interested, you can click this link and then it will show you the world population, okay, courtesy of Professor Mermovich. So current population is approximately 7 billion people, okay. As you can see the curve, human population is originally very stabilized until when? Until the Industrial Revolution. After Industrial Revolution, then there's a huge increase of the human population. In the past, why? Because we are all do the hunting and gathering. And then later on we move to agriculture. And then not until Industrial Revolution it gives people a very stable life and stable family. Then people reproduce rapidly. And Industrial Revolution also give advances in medicine that increase the lifespan of people. That's why population grows a lot. Now we have to look at two different types of country: less developed countries and more developed countries. More developed countries, they are red line. They have a really stable and low population growth. But less developed country, they have it's a sigmoidal shape. It's a sigmoidal shape. It's almost like a exponential growth at the beginning, but then at the end they will stabilize. So this is the characteristic of a less developed country and more developed countries. So let's compare the two types of countries. Let's talk about the more developed country first. Well, as we know that the United States is a more developed country, So our population growth is low and our standard living is high. The same as in many European countries. Our population increased rapidly between 1850 to 1950 because the death rate decreased a lot. The decrease in death rate, one of the reasons for decrease in death rate is the increase or the advance of medicine. Okay, it is difficult to write with a mouse. I apologize. Okay, I'm trying to write with a mouse. Sorry about that. Medicine, advances in medicine, and also a lot of factors actually. Decrease in war. As you know that there is not many wars occur on the within the United States. Okay, after the Civil War, there's not many war, and also natural disaster. There's not much famine. Okay, we actually have too much food in this country. Decrease in birth rate. Demographic transition, what does it mean? In the past, as most of the society, we saw that from the previous slides, we used to be agriculture, and then we go to industrial revolution. So it's the same as in the United States. In the past, people farming. People mainly do farming, agriculture. For farming, they require a lot of labor, human resources. So what happens is that they usually raise a big family. Big family provide a lot of human hands to help in the agriculture, to help with all the chores in the farm. But as the demographic change to become industry, industrial revolution, to go into industry, later on to go to the commercial sectors. All these require a lot fewer human labor. So the family transition into a small family. We call it nuclear family. And also living in the city, in the West Coast and East Coast, living in the two coasts, it is also expensive. So raising a small family help to live in the city or two coastal area. Because of that, it causes the decrease in the birth rate. But the death rate is also decreased. So it causes the population growth in the more developed countries stabilize at a very low rate. It's only around 0.1% population growth. So European countries, they actually have a decrease in size because people don't give birth, people don't get married, people don't give birth. Even if they get married, they don't give birth. So the population is decreasing. Well, United States also have a very low population growth rate, 0.6%, but we are smart. Okay, the government knows the issue. If we have a decrease in population, just like in Europe, they don't have enough labor force, then it will actually affect the economy. So ultimately, the country will suffer. So what happened is that, yes, we also have a low birth rate, but we compensate the low birth rate with immigration. Yes, we take a lot of immigrant, but we are very selective too. We take the best one to the country. So yeah, we take immigrant, but we take the best one. So taking immigration help with the low birth rate. So the European country, they learn from the United States. So they take a lot of immigrant now. If you pay attention to the news, they take a lot of refugees from the Middle East. So if you go to Europe, you will see a lot of Middle East people. People from Middle East, they are in Europe now. They settle there, and that helps the country. It provides a lot of labor force in the European country. So we finish with the more developed country. Now let's take a look at the less developed country. Less developed country, okay, the population grow really fast, but the living standard is really low. And the less developed country can reach 7 billion by like 100 years later. Less developed country, mainly they are in the Latin America, Africa, and Asia. In the past, when I teach face-to-face classes, I like to use China as an example because I'm Chinese, so I use China. I make fun of the China. China is still, they call it less developed country, but as a matter of fact, the economy is so good. People should reclassify China as a more developed country now. How do we decrease the expected growth rate? Establish or strengthen the family planning program. This is the only thing that I praise China. Their one-child policy is award-winning. Yes, the World Health Organization, World Health Organization actually awarded China for the one-child policy for successfully decreasing or stabilizing the population growth in China. So this is the one-child policy is something that other less developed countries should learn and also should do the same thing. According to my Chinese friend, they're from China, they told me that if they have more than one kid, what will happen? The government actually will take away the benefit of the whole family. So it's like punishing them for having more children. And then use social progress to reduce the desire of large family. This is a little bit abstractive. Well, we see similar things happen in China. Majority part of China, they are the rural area, the countryside. They are mostly depends on the farming and agriculture. And nowadays, a lot of people from the countryside, they move to the city or the coastal area for jobs or to make a better living. And living in the city is expensive. That's why they also reduce the family size there. And then delay onset of the childbearing. Yes, making a living is difficult. Making a living in the city is difficult. That's why many people delay having children and delay getting married and etc. That can be an issue. That can be a problem. Those are the problem of the developed country. But for the less developed country, we should promote this. Yeah, the problem, the issue of the more developed country is something that the less developed country should learn from. Delayed onset of childbearing. On the other hand, for the more developed country, we should learn from the less developed country. We should increase family size.